Thanks for coming. Today's topic is about Osmanthus and why Chinese people like Osmanthus so much. Any idea?
Because they grew up with it.
Yeah, a lot of things have a very strong emotional connection. That's one of the ingredients which are very easy to win Chinese customer heart. There's a few very well, quite best-selling fragrance, all related to Osmanthus smell. First, Osmanthus, this plant is natively grown in China. You know China is a big country, and Osmanthus tree can go in quite a large area of China, not just a particular province or particular area. Almost half of the China, you can find Osmanthus tree. No? Pointer? Okay. So all below the black line, this whole area, Osmanthus can be grown. So it covers over half of the population in China, the area. That's why over half of the population in China, when they grow up, some sort of experience with Osmanthus. And almost all Chinese people in their life, they will come across of Osmanthus in all sorts of different forms, whether it's a fresh flower or dry form or in their food. And also a lot of parts, especially around the we so-called Shanghai, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, in autumn time, September, October, even you walk on the street, you can smell Osmanthus, very lightly scented. That's how all the emotional and memory built in Chinese people. And smelling is all related to our past memory. It will create your own preference in your future. And even you, as a child, as a kid, you never, ever or see any Osmanthus. But in meteorology story, when you're 2 years old, your mother in school will tell you some fairy tale about there's an Osmanthus tree in the moon. Now, in the moon, there's a rabbit, Osmanthus tree, and Chang'e, and another guy called Wu Gang, who will try to push down the Osmanthus tree. Every time when he used the axe to cut or harm the tree straight away, it will heal. And also Osmanthus traditionally used in Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine. They have a form of removing plaque, relieve your coughing, moisturizing your system, and relieve toothache as well. And a lot of other practice, they will use Osmanthus. This is a very important part in our Chinese culture. We're famous with, we like food. And Osmanthus widely used in all sorts of cooking or making pastry and dry things with tea. Osmanthus tea, just the way how they make Osmanthus tea, quite similar to making jasmine tea. They mix the fresh Osmanthus flower with tea, So the tea leaf will absorb the smell of Osmantha, and when you brew the tea, will have the taste of Osmantha. I will pass along of some dry Osmantha. You can smell it. Just pass. Yeah. So you can compare with your past experience whether any of the Osmantha fragrance you smell similar to this dry Osmantha flower. Again, for Osmantha tea also have a lot of beneficial, nourishing and moisturizing your lung. That's why help to remove the plaque and soothing your soft throat and coughing. And for Chinese tradition medicine, we always believing in yin yang and the balance of the yin yang. So it will keep you healthy. And preserved Osmantha gem, widely used as light syrup or honey. Then they mix the Osmantha in autumn when the Osmantha blooming. They preserve it with some sugar and honey, and it will keep the smell for quite a long time. And you can just drizzling around of a lot of different type of food. And Osmantha wine, which their production period is extremely short in a year, and with the fragrance of Osmantha in the wine, normally they use a Chinese called Huangjiu, the wine made by rice or glutenin rice. Candy, widely available, you can buy from supermarket. Cake, people bake Chinese steamed cake with Osmantha pastry. Pastry, also of different type of pastry. And also we use in cooking, make a lot of dessert. One very famous dessert made by the lotus root stuffed with glutenin rice. And on top, they will use Osmantha syrups. So we eat a lot of food or dessert, candy, cookie, which have using Osmantha. That's why it's a very strong link in our memory. And now go back to Osmantha, the word of Latin. Osmans means fragrance. Mantha means flower, so it's a fragrant flower. And it belongs to olive family, which are jasmine, lilac, all belong to the same family. So from the plant way to see Osmantha also is a very fragrant flower. And there's many species, particular species, Osmantha fragrance have the most fragrance, and which is used in the perfume industry. And currently, until now, I think China is the only country industrially produce the Osmantha Absolute. There's 4 major subspecies which are used in Absolute production. And different species will affect the yield and the quality of the Absolute as well. So one of the major one is we so-called golden Osmantha. The flower is a golden yellow, and the fragrance is very strong and fruity sweet. And high quality Osmantha Absolute produced by this particular subspecies. And then there's a silver osmanthus. The flower, you can see the color is a bit pale white yellow, and the smell is less strong. Another major subspecies using in the production is we so-called orange osmanthus, which orange-yellow color. And the third one, four-season osmanthus, because this particular osmanthus, it can flower almost whole year round. That's why I call it four-season osmanthus. But the smell relatively weak. And the color is light yellow or white. The major species used in the production is the orange osmanthus and also the golden osmanthus, which is normally only flowering during the autumn time. And different species will affect the extraction method is using solvent extraction, produce absolute. The production yield is very low, 0.025 to 0.1%, depend on which type of osmanthus flower you're using, and also the season. That's why it's a very expensive ingredient. It's currently roughly 8,000 US dollar per kilo. That's why in fragrance industry, most of the brand or cannot really afford to use a lot of osmanthus absolute. And there's another reason why a lot of perfumers not really like to work with pure osmanthus absolute, because apart from the floral note osmanthus absolute, there's other facet in the absolute. So the olfactory palette, apart from sweet, fruity, which we all know, floral, but also osmanthus absolute, they have a slightly salty note and also the leathery note. Why it have the leathery note? Because the way how they produce the absolute, after they harvest the flower, it will soak in the salt water for a while. So it will create a kind of a bit of fermentation. That's how the salty and the leather note come from. Yep. I can let you smell some of the osmanthus. Yes. It leaked the bottle, so when I fly over here, almost gone. Enough? So can you smell the leathery note inside? Shit. Wait, sorry, I think I make a mistake. I made a mistake. Actually, what you smell now actually is the tincture. Sorry, now the one hand to use the absolute. The first one you smell is a tincture. So tincture, you can't really smell the salty and leathery note. Can you smell the leathery note in the second bottle? That's why it's not really represent the fresh flowers smell. There's many other facets in the absolute. Then the first blotter handout was a tincture. It's 10% tinctures, which so 10% osmanthus flower in the ethanol, and then concentrate by low temperature evaporation by the rotor. And that one will be more fruity, more floral, and more close to what you smell before the dry flower. But that's not industrially, that's not possible to produce. Extremely too costly. That's perfumer will use a lot of other aroma chemical to mimic or create the smell, the feeling of osmanthus. Two ingredients quite often been used. Oh, so the third one, the new technology can use a CO2 extraction, so which can remove the leathery note. So it will be more close to the smell of the flower. Then the cost will be even more expensive than traditional solvent extraction. And I know some company, they can produce very fruity, floral osmanthus absolute now with a new technology and new way of the process. That's the reason why a lot of perfumers like to use aroma chemical. Two aroma chemical often used in osmanthus fragrance. One we so-called C14 is a peach aldehyde, which have a fruity peach creamy type of texture. And another one is aldehyde C16, which is nicknamed strawberry aldehyde with the sweetness of the strawberry. And of course, apart from this, they will mix with other type of aroma chemical to create the feeling of osmanthus. And a lot of perfumers, especially in the early days, they might not even have a chance to smell the fresh, real osmanthus. So it's by what in their mind try to create a fragrance. And using osmanthus in perfume industry actually have not so short history. We know in the past 5 years, there was a lot of osmanthus fragrance on the market, not only from the niche sector, even the mainstream sector also have a lot of osmanthus fragrance. Guess which one is the first fragrance using osmanthus absolute? Which one is the first one? Anyone can guess? Okay. Yam Patu 1000. So here we have some Yam Patu 1000. Thank you for the osmotic. Not enough for everyone, so ask them to share. Yeah, that side. Yeah. So if you want to smell, you can go to osmotic counter. They have it. Yeah. So this is the first fragrance using Osmanthus Absolute. It was so beautiful, amazing fragrance. This was in 1972. After that, it had been quiet for a long, long time until the next major fragrance which have Osmanthus. Which one? Guess? Yeah. The different company, Osmanthus by Yanka Elena. So they are using a lot of mandarin. It's a very citrus top Osmanthus fragrance. Unfortunately, this year the different company wasn't exhibition in the hall. Then second one I will let you to smell is from Oman Jane. Also have Osmanthus fragrance. So also working on a citrus top note, pomelo, no. Then with Osmanthus with jasmine. Very fresh, floral, fruity. Dry down will be a bit of woody with vetiver. Then Serge Lutton come up with the Neo de Telephone, also a quite renowned Osmanthus fragrance in the niche sector, which more sweetness and the base will be more woody as the signature Serge Lutton fragrance.
Can I ask you to stay on the line?
Oh, sorry. Then the following from the MDCI, La Belle Helene. This one is a very peachy, apricot, Osmanthus. By Bertrand. Then Oman Jane also create another very successful Osmanthus fragrance. Apart from Osmanthus, inside it also put in tea note. Tea note is another palette which very easily win Chinese consumer. So if come from the same house, have two different fragrance on a two different direction, also are using Osmanthus as one of the key notes. And then you can smell another very interesting, we so-called shippy type of Osmanthus fragrance by Nobile 1942. This brand is exhibition in the hall. So if you're interested, you can go to have a smell on it. It's very interesting and very smoky Osmanthus. And then Nina Ramesh Creation also have a fragrance work on Osmanthus, Rahe. And the nose behind it also by Bertrand, but it is very different compared to just now the MDCI one. So more green, this one. The MDCI one is more fruity, more apricot, peach. And then this is another very simple Osmanthus fragrance. Unfortunately, this house not representing this year. And another very fruity, fresh, floral type of Osmanthus is by Rancine 1795. It's very sweet. A lot of Chinese related this to some of our Chinese Osmanthus dessert. And then Atelier de Rose also created recently last year Osmanthus fragrance. Which is also use a lot of sweet tart note with orange blossom, fresh. And also from last year, there's a luxury overdose, also focused on Osmanthus. I don't know why, whether it's a coincidence or all the perfumers have a communication within themselves. In the past 5 years, there was a lot of Osmanthus fragrance on the market. And this one is quite different to all the previous Osmanthus you smell. It is very oriental. So do you have any preference? What type of menthol fragrance you like?
We previous one, sweet and citrusy,
This one?
No, no, no. Next one. No, no, no.
Yeah, this one. Any? There's another very good Osmanthus fragrance. The brand owner actually in our audience. 17 Nandan Rule. Very light peach floral smell. Yeah. So any of this selection of fragrance you like or dislike? And in China, we did quite a few rounds of blind testing. And a few of the fragrance are always come up with consumer like it. And one of these always come up from our good feedback is the different company Osmanthus, and then Oman James Chi, and Ramsey 1795 Secrete Iforo. This is kind of represent the Chinese people memory or their emotional connection with the flower. Our smell actually is a learning process. Just now, in previous discussion, I mentioned we kind of lack of a proper education of how we smell things, but we smell things every day. How to describe, how to create more vocabulary. And if you go to department store or wherever, even the beauty advisor, they have a very limited vocabulary to tell customer. And of course, for layman customer, as I always say, they only respond is, smell very nice, I like it. Or, smell not nice, I don't like it. And how to describe it, how to link it with your own emotional memory, your past experience. So smell itself is no right or wrong. There isn't a smell everyone hate, or there isn't a smell everyone like. Every individual have your own preference. And a perfumer job is going to create some memory connection. So when you can link up with the fragrance, that's how the journey starts. Some people might tell you, oh, I don't wear perfume, I don't like the smell, because the person haven't met a fragrance which really suits the person, or start to create an emotional connection with the sense. Smelling or the memory of the smell is very powerful. Scientifically already been proved. It stays longer in our memory. So you even can recognize some smell when you were smell it in 2 years old. You might not be realized, but when you come across the same smell again, it's just like open up the Pandora box. Everything will just come up. This is also the reason why Osmanthus fragrance easily been liked by Chinese. It just seems like oud to Middle East people. They have all the emotional contact, emotional memory.